I'd love it if you'd tell a story of how Beaconsfield Miners came to be.
Well, I guess it was maybe a year and a half ago that I got this email from someone in Australia that said, hey, I don't know if you're aware of what's going on down here, but there are these two miners that are trapped in a mine in Tasmania, and it was big national news in Australia. It hadn't made its way here to America yet, but the person told me that they finally got to these two guys that were trapped in this tiny cage underground, and they weren't able to pull them out yet. It'd been in for I don't know how many days. But they were able to contact them, and they said, is there anything we can get you until we're able to rescue you? And one of the guys said, yeah, could you please get me an iPod with the Foo Fighters In Your Honor album on it? So I'm reading this email, and I just get the chills, you know? I was really touched, and because it was one of those moments where, you know, you think that what you do is only helping you get by in life, and then to hear that it's actually helping someone else in a situation like that to try to survive something like that, it just turns your world upside down. Like, oh my God, what am I doing? This is, like, you know, and that's when you really start to think maybe it is more than just, you know, beers and lasers, you know. Maybe what we're doing really means something, or that we're doing some good in life or in the world, or maybe it just made me, it like legitimized what I did for that moment. So I wrote him a note and I said, you know, I hope you guys are hanging in there and you're in our thoughts and prayers. I hope when you get out, you know, there's a couple cold beers and a couple tickets to one of our shows. Just come hang out, and I hope our music helps you through it, and you know, we'll see you when you get out. And so they sent the note down to him, and they were stoked about it. And dude, they were in there for like 2 weeks or something. And I don't know how big the cage was, but I think it was like 7 by 2 or whatever. It was a cage, and they were trapped underground in a mine. And for me, I mean, I just can't even imagine. And the thing about these two guys is that they had such a great sense of humor about the whole thing. So when we went down to Sydney to play the Opera House, I heard that Brant Webb, one of the miners, was coming to the show. So the night before the show, I was in my hotel room by myself, and I had a guitar, and I just came up with this thing, and I thought, you know what? I'm going to dedicate this to Brant. I hadn't met him yet. And this one, I'll call it the Ballad of the Beaconsfield Miners. And so I did it, and it's just an instrumental. And then after the gig, we hung out, and you know, I didn't want to bring up that whole thing to him, because I mean, you can imagine how traumatizing that could be.
Yeah.
And dude, he just cracked like 100 jokes about it. He was so cool and so funny. And then we went to the hotel bar and just drank rum and cokes for like 5 hours, and buddied up, and he and his wife, and I said, well, man, you know, I'm gonna put that song on our record, because just as a tribute to the guy, but also to sort of repay that gift that he gave me for that moment where I felt like, man, maybe this is for real, you know.